Hi everyone, it's Michael, and I am so excited to be filming the bloom profile for number 60 in my collection, my Beallara Peggy Ruth Carpenter. And I'm afraid she is just too beautiful to delay. I have to show you right now. Look at this beauty. Oh my goodness. Oh, and I love when she catches the light too. Such a stunner. Now let's go in for a closer look and we'll talk through a little bit of the history and background of these stunning blooms. We are looking at my Beallara Peggy Ruth Carpenter. Now you might also find this plant under the name Alisara. I purchased this plant from Whole Foods back in March of 2019 and I couldn't be more pleased that I did. The genetic background of this beauty is quite complex. Generally speaking, Beallaras are a cross of several different orchid types, like Oncidiums, Odontoglossums, Brassia, Miltonia, but the specific parents to this one are the Alisara Tahoma Glacier and the Miltonia Purple Queen. Now, the adaptation of my Beallara to semi-hydroponics has been bizarre to say the very least. While it did acclimate to semi-hydro, you'll note that the vast majority of the established root system exists in the thin layer of sphagnum moss I placed on top of the leca. This leads me to believe that while this plant can survive in semi-hydroponics, it is certainly not its preferred potting method, and I will likely repot this into sphagnum moss when the bloom cycle is over. I also think it's important to note that I've struggled to meet the moisture needs of this plant. It drinks down its water reservoir incredibly quickly, which is yet another compelling reason to convert it to sphagnum moss. Oddly, the only impact is that the pseudobulbs have become slightly pruny, but this did not stop the plant from putting out 2 flower spikes and 2 brand new growths. Speaking now to the bloom timelines, the flower spikes appeared on January 17th, but did not open until March 16th. So from the moment you notice this plant is starting to develop a flower spike, you have about a 2-month incubation period before you will see the blooms. I will say that the first bloom developed slightly faster and also ended faster, so it just stopped blooming on April 25th, which means that each flower spike can be expected to bloom for a period of up to a month and a half. In total, I anticipate that this plant will bloom for a period of about 3 months, and as always, we'll update the description of this video to reflect the exact timeline. Like many orchid types, flower spikes appear at the base of newly matured pseudobulbs. Having said that, it's generally safe to assume that if your plant is in good health, you can expect a flower spike off of each new growth. Speaking to the blooms themselves, there is so much to look at. These spidery, waxy flowers are absolutely stunning and have a white base that turns into a gradient of fuchsia, then purple, then violet. It's punctuated by darker maroon spotting and some general detailing that is so unique. No 2 flowers are alike. Each will have its own unique markings, and each will have its own unique gradient of saturation. And I think this is one of the things that makes the Beallara Peggy Ruth Carpenter so special. It puts on a diverse and highly unexpected show every time. While this variation is a part of the plant's natural temperament, it is also linked to light exposure. This plant can look quite different based off of whether it receives a lot of light or very little light. In fact, when I first purchased this plant, it appeared to be lavender purple and soft white. Let's take a look at what this plant looked like when I purchased it 1 year ago. I found her sitting all by herself. She was the only one of her kind. She was drowning in a sea of Phalaenopsis, but she was at Whole Foods, oddly perfectly labeled and identified. But she is so strange and so wonderful. Now I can't tell, I don't know if you guys can see it, but each bloom is a slightly different color. Like the one at the top is like green with purple accents. The one in the center here is purple with white accents. The one at the bottom down here is, it almost looks white with purple and green accents. Each bloom is quite different than the next, and I just fell in love with her. She is so gorgeous, so I'm so excited to welcome her to the family. Isn't this plant's capacity for natural variance absolutely amazing? In regard to bloom size, this is quite a significant display. Each bloom measures approximately 4 inches wide and 4 inches tall. Finally, let's discuss the fragrance component of this plant. Now, after putting these blooms to the sniff test, I can confirm that this is not a fragrant orchid. It doesn't even have that vague general floral scent that you get from some other non-fragrant orchids. But that doesn't stop me from loving this captivating beauty. And with that, that's pretty much it. Thank you as always for choosing to spend your time with me. If you have any questions, concerns, or feedback, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Be sure to support one another in the comment section because I'm so seldom available to do so, and have a beautiful rest of your day. Mwah! Bye, friends!